Matt Gaetz's very bad month continues to get even worse. It appears that former Seminole County, Florida tax collector Joel Greenberg, who's the subject of an investigation of sex trafficking, is now cooperating with federal prosecutors. Now, let me go to a report here in Politico. Prosecutors and a defense attorney for Greenberg recently appeared before a judge to discuss the next steps in a recently expanded criminal case charging Greenberg with sex trafficking of a minor, as well as stalking, bribery, and defrauding the pandemic-related Paycheck Protection Program. Wow, that is a litany of different charges. Now, the federal probe looking into whether Gaetz had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl, paid for her travel last year, and grew out of the Greenberg investigation. Now, federal prosecutor Roger Honberg said at the outset of this briefing, quote, "We believe this case is going to be a plea. My hope is that it is done this month." Another person agreed that his client is looking to deal. "I expect this case to be resolved with the plea," his defense lawyer, Greenberg's defense lawyer, said moments later. The exchange and the extended comments to reporters following the session strongly suggested that Greenberg is assisting the prosecution and that Thursday's events were choreographed to turn up the heat on Mr. Matt Gaetz. That's not good. Not good at all. Gaetz. Here we go. It's getting worse. To turning up the heat. All right. Now, Politico also reported on Tuesday that friends of the men say Greenberg introduced Gaetz to women Greenberg found through profiles on websites like Seeking Arrangement, which feature women looking for sugar daddy relationships with wealthy men. So now, on that, this is actually, I think, the least controversial of this. Even though that my opinion is going to be slightly controversial, I don't think paying for sex should be illegal. I don't. As long as it's consensual between two adults. So let me say again. Paying for consensual sex between two adults, I don't think should be illegal. I think that should be perfectly legal. I think that should, we should decriminalize it at the very least. I believe sex work is fine. I don't have an issue with that. All right. I do, of course, have an issue with what Matt Gaetz was alleged to have done with the trafficking of a 17-year-old who was not of legal age and therefore cannot actually legally consent. Again, if you want to be a sugar daddy, that's totally fine. You want to pay for sex with another adult, that's totally fine. It's not my business. I don't really care. Sex work is work. It should be legalized. Now, Gaetz is again had allegedly taken this 17-year-old from Florida to another state to have a sexual relationship with her. And of course, he's in his mid-30s, which of course is not only creepy, but against the law, and is considered to be trafficking. I would not like to see trafficking legalized. Sex work is work. Legal for consenting adults, great. I want to be very clear about where I stand here, okay? That said, according to the current law, Gaetz broke a bunch of them. And so he's facing a lot of problems right now, okay? Now, according to the article, paying for sex would normally be a state, not a federal crime. However, arranging for people to cross state lines to engage in prostitution is a federal offense. Use of the internet and interstate phone calls to arrange such activity could also be handled federally with higher penalties if minors were involved. Again, Gaetz and the 17-year-old girl. Now, there's also more evidence against Gaetz that have just came out, and that is some shady Venmo transactions. Here we go. According to a report in the Daily Beast, in 2 late-night Venmo transactions in May of 2018, Representative Gaetz sent his friend, the accused sex trafficker Greenberg, $900. The next morning, over the course of 8 minutes, Greenberg used the same app to send 3 young women varying sums of money. In total, the transactions ended up amounting to about $900. The memo field for the first of Gaetz transactions was titled Test, and second, the congressman wrote "hit up," and of course, the identity of this person has been protected, as well as the nickname Gaetz had used for this person. When Greenberg then made his Venmo payments to these 3 young women, he described the money as being for tuition, school, just to kind of show the ages of these young women, who did appear to be of legal age. But again, you've got a 36-year-old that's messing around with an 18-year-old. It's creepy. It does do creepiness. It makes me uncomfortable, really. All right. Now, Gaetz and Greenberg are both connected through Venmo to this 18-year-old woman who now works in the porn industry. She's a sex worker, according to a friend of the girl. And on Thursday, Greenberg's attorney and prosecutors indicated during a court hearing they expect Greenberg to strike this plea deal, meaning he plans to cooperate with investigators. That could be potentially disastrous for Gaetz, as investigators look into the connections between these 2 men. And one particularly damning connection, of course, is those financial transactions. So again, if he's sending money to a woman, an 18-year-old, through Venmo, again, that's and it happens to be for sex, that is illegal under the law. I don't agree that it should be illegal, despite it being super creepy. I'm just saying. It is creepy. She's literally half his age. Ugh. Ugh. But still, I mean, consenting adults, right? Now, what else makes me uncomfortable, though, about this is that Gaetz is pretty hypocritical. And that's really the issue here, okay? As far as that is concerned. He's supposedly a pro-family conservative who is, again, alleged to have done child trafficking. Where's QAnon? Yeah. I didn't think so. I didn't think they were going to be about this. Oh, no. I definitely think that not only does Matt Gaetz need to resign for being a complete and total hypocrite, but also, if this ends up being true, prison time. Absolutely prison time, which would mean, of course, he also would not be in office anymore. And so child trafficking is horrendous. It's not a good thing. It's a very bad thing. Being pro-sex work is not the same as being pro-sex trafficking. Let's be honest about that. I want to be very clear here. Because what I'm talking about is that even if sex work were legal or decriminalized, Matt Gaetz would still be in trouble for doing this. Because he took a 17-year-old child across state lines. And he's still also a gigantic creep, in my opinion. And with all this coming out against him, he is facing some huge problems, as he should. As he absolutely should. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.